As a solopreneur, you'll get a lot of questions from customers, would-be customers, and random people. And that's one part of my job, as you can say, that I really love, because I love the contact with customers. But I don't want to waste either my time or their time, so that's why I use shortcuts here too. So let's say I got a ticket from a customer who couldn't find out where she could go to check our done for you blocks, for example. So let me just move this tab over here and maximize it. So that's the problem. The customer wants to see what we can do, but don't know where to do it. So I want to show this to the customer, and the best way to show that is with an image. I can do some explanations, but I would say go down here, click on them, or just wait for it to rotate by itself. And then you can click over here, for example. That's what I want to say to the customer. So normally I just use the built-in snippet tool in Windows, which I activate with Shift Windows and the S key, and then I would select the area I would use, and that would give me an image. And if I click down here to the right, then I can get this inside the editor, which is pretty handy. So there I would normally find the arrow inside shapes here, and then point to where I want the customer to look down here. But very often there is more than one thing to do. For example, here I could say, okay, click first at the top and then down here. Then I would need a second arrow. Oh, too dark for this background. But how could I now tell the customer where to start, here or here? Well, in this little built-in tool, I can only write it myself like this with a mouse here, and sorry for the ambulance. That doesn't look very professional. So I tried other ways. I think there's a way you can add text, but then you will have to import it to Paint or something like that. So it's not that good. I don't know how the built-in tool is on a Mac, but I do know that I found another solution. So let's hide this away. It's not nice. Off you go. Don't save. So same problem. And now I'm going to use a tool I found recently. It can be found next to my watch down here. If I click here, it will open, and I also have a shortcut on my desktop. Let me show you. Here it is. ShareX it's called, and I'll give you a link to it, and it's completely free with no catch at all. Strangely, I haven't found any, at least, but I'm pretty new to it, so I haven't even discovered half of what it can do. It can do a lot. It can do a lot. So now I'm going to click it from down here. As you can see it down here, I click, and once I do, it will magically add those ant lines. What do you call it? Ant lines? This moving line around the area. And that's because it can automatically select areas on my computer. And if I click, it will take a screenshot. If you see here, this is a big area, so it would take the whole area here. But if I had more and smaller areas, here I have the record button. You probably don't see it, but now it's surrounded by those moving ants. But you can also select yourself. You're not bound to use those lines, and you can also set shortcuts for those settings. But here I'm going to click and select only part of this. So I just click and drag and let go, and now it's opened inside the editor, because in the settings I had set it up to open in the editor once I've taken a screenshot, because that's what I most often use. Not always, but most often. So in the example before, I showed how I would add arrows to these here to show the customer where to go. So to do that, I will simply choose the arrow tool, which is here, I can choose another color if I want pink, hot pink. And then I can now make an arrow down to this place I want to point out. I can choose different arrow styles, like here. Yeah, classic, double, modern, basic, and line. And as you can see with line, it has those V-shaped lines. So let me go back. I think I prefer classic, I think. Okay, but in this case, we wanted 2 arrows. So I'm going to add the second arrow as well over here, pointing down there. And of course, you can do all kinds of shapes also. You can even add emojis if you want that. Let's add this one. And you can move it around just as you please. You can change the size. And you can turn it around and move it with these 2 things up here. They turn and make smaller the whole one at once. Okay, no more playing around with emojis. I don't know if I will ever use them on a screenshot. Maybe if I'm going to point out something funny on the screenshot. This is not what I want here. Here I want to tell the customer that first she should click here, and then you should click over here. So there's a step icon up here, the hashtag. And once again, I can choose a fill color. I'm going to choose a pink to match the arrows. And then I'm just going to click where they're supposed to start. So that will be over here. 1 and step 2. And every time I click, it will set a new step like this. Okay, now I made a lot of other dots. And if you want to draw out a line directly to the dot, you can do that by clicking and dragging like this. So you may not even need an arrow if it's too narrow or something. So let's say I wanted to point out this place. I could just drag it down here. Very nice. But let's say you are making a lot of images for this customer and you have shown step 1 and 2 up here. And now you want to have a new image and you want to start with step 3. So that's what you can set up here. That's a starting number. So here it has started with number 1. Well, let's say we want to start with number 10. So now we have 10 over here. Now it will go on with several new steps. This is what I use the most, but you can also use tools like blur here. How much you're going to blur. So let's say we want to blur out this window, and I'm simply clicking and dragging my mouse over it and it will blur. Let's see. So depends on how much you want to show and how much you want to hide. So this is pretty unclear to me. I can't read the text, but I can see there's text behind it. So that is the things I use the most, but you can try out all the icons up here. You can add a speech bubble like this if you want to add text into it. And you can crop the image and you can do a lot of things. You can crop it here. You can cut out parts of it. You can change the background and there's an image effect. You can add a spotlight. You can pixelate it instead of blurring, for example. And you can even erase parts of it. Let's say I don't want this one up here. Then, whip-tee, it's gone. Oops, a little bit too much gone, but let's drag that away. Yeah, it's not perfect, but that's not my point with this one. But this is an amazing shortcut that I use a lot because it's so handy when I'm going to show something for a customer. If they have a problem with a download or something, then use a snippet just down from the bar at the bottom or with your shortcut, and then select the part of the window, add the arrows, add the numbers, and you're done, and it will explain much better than a lot of text otherwise would do. So I hope this will be handy for you too, and I'll leave the link to this program that is completely free in the description.